Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this evening's City Council meeting. In keeping with our long-standing tradition, we'll commence our meeting with a moment of silent reflection. I would ask that we keep in our minds and hearts everyone that needs our best thoughts, wishes, and prayers, but especially as we recognize today World Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day. I would suppose that there's not anybody in this room that hasn't had someone that has been stricken by that horrible, loathsome disease. And also, we have friends in Buckhannon who have friends in California who have been impacted by the wildfires out there. It truly is a small world, and these horrible calamities, catastrophes that happen wherever they are tend to impact people right here in our own community. So let's keep all those folks in our best thoughts. Thank you very much. And Deborah Brockelman from the Stockford Youth and Community Center, would you be so kind as to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, I don't. I just know that people I got earlier to do with that.
We'll try to get through this agenda as quickly as possible. Mr. Rigger has already reminded me 3 times that they quit serving the shrimp cocktail at the 88 at 9:30, so that's very important that you make it down there. Right? Thank you. Yeah, now the world knows. Okay, we have several guests, and first up is our excellent new school superintendent, Dr. Sarah Stankus, who's bringing us greetings from our Upshur County school system and the Board of Education. And man, you brought some folks to help you too. I've got George Carver and Beth Harrison and Greenbrier Almond. And
Yes, I would like to introduce Mr. Carver, our school treasurer, our Upshur County treasurer, Dr. Deb Harrison, assistant superintendent, and Dr. Almond, Greenbrier Almond, who's a board member. And it's truly an honor to be here tonight. Thank you so much for coming. We'd like to leave with all folks here a token. This is a lanyard and a pin, and on this is written Upshur Strong. And that's kind of been our mantra as we travel around talking to folks about what's happening in the schools and the levy. But we believe Upshur Strong means that if we have great schools, we'll have good businesses, good community support, and all of it works together. So together we can be Upshur Strong. And I love this community, and I believe in what we're doing here in Upshur County. And Mayor, I would like to first start by saying thank you for what you did at Union Elementary with a former principal, Mr. Roy Pettit. That was so amazing and so touching and so timely. I really appreciate what you did.
I agree on.
It meant a lot to our school community, so thank you again. The first thing that I would like to just talk about is our school levy. And the last time that I came and spoke, we didn't have an election day set, and our school board has decided that we will have the election on January 19th, and that is Martin Luther King weekend. And under the advice of Carol Smith, last time we had some difficulty getting poll workers, and she thought maybe it'd be easier if we had an election on a Saturday, and those same poll workers would have Monday off. It might be a little carrot to say, hey, you have Monday off and you can work on Saturday. But we hope all of you will go out and vote on January 19th in this special election. What does the levy pay for? Why is this important to our schools? Again, it's about being Upshur Strong. This is about 10% of our school budget, which means it's about $3.2 million a year from this community that we collect for our schools, for our children. And as I said before, we believe in what we're doing, and we appreciate what this community has given to us. One of the things that this levy pays for is one of your police officers, Officer Stewart, at Buckhannon Academy. This levy pays for that pro officer. And also our pro officer at the middle school and the high school. And I can't imagine, because those people are so effective in the schools, students come to them and talk to them about things that they wouldn't tell their teachers. And so those pro officers, those salaries are paid through this levy. Also, safety and security. We just recently were blessed to have a $250,000 grant that County Commission submitted for us for school cameras. Every school will have a camera system now installed that the police will be able to view in live time into the schools. We're also hoping to update our bus camera systems, and that's going to be done through the levy funds as well. But also this pays for technology, instructional materials, improving our libraries, extracurricular, curricular activity, busing. We have been paying for passes for senior citizens to get into our sporting events and arts events. Anything that happens in the school, they can go to free of charge. And you might say, well, that, you know, it's $6. It's not a big deal to go and pay the way in. But if you're a senior citizen and you want to go to those events, that might be an incentive to go out and go to that event, and it means something. But this year we're adding to our levy call the active military and veterans to that free ticket to get into the sporting events and the arts events in schools. And my father was a World War II vet, and my father-in-law, we come from a family of military. I'm very proud of that, and I'm really proud that our school system is putting this in just as a way, another way to say thank you to these folks who have sacrificed so deeply. Community services, all of us want more services in our school for our children, mental health, counseling. All of this money allows us to be a little more flexible with the money that we spend for these type of services, art, music, and our athletic programs as well. So if you take a look at this handout, what else have I left out, Dr. Harrison?
Well, Dr. Stankus did identify some of the things that we're going to be adding to the levy, but while we're adding some things to the levy and reevaluating how we spend those dollars, the levy will not be increased at all. It will still be the same 40% levy. That we'll just be looking at being able to spend the money more wisely and doing the things that we need to do for our students.
So no taxes or
Right, no
will be
tax
raised.
increase.
Okay.
We're a conservative community. We don't even have a bond out for building schools right now, but we need money to maintain the schools, and so the levy allows that. And then we can get matching money from the state, and it puts us in a good position, and we can maintain the conservative values that when we wanted to build a new middle school, the community said no, but we can maintain schools if we have some resource, and about $1 million a year goes to that from the levy.
Have I left anything out, Mr. Carver?
Instructional supplies, the money that's given to teachers, $200 per teacher to use for classroom supplies in the classroom.
So when students come to the classroom in Upshur County, we tell them they don't have to bring paper, they don't have to bring pencils, and they don't have to buy textbooks. And that's huge. It's really, you know, maybe some of you can remember the day when you had to buy a textbook. And so we're really blessed to not have to do that here in our community. And I just want to say thank you, because this community has been so supportive for so many years of this levy, and just the outpouring of support that I've received as just talking to folks about this levy. I just want to say thank you to all of you for your support and what we do here with our levy money. Every dime of this money will stay in Upshur County. It doesn't go anywhere else. We collect it, it goes right to our schools. It doesn't go to Charleston or any other place. And we actually, the levy call is kind of a contract between the schools the community, because we say, okay, we're going to spend this much for safety, this much for instructional supplies, and we put a dollar amount beside of that.
Question for you, Dr. Stankus.
Sure.
What do you feel about the propriety of this council entertaining a resolution of support for the school levy? I'm not aware in my 36-year association with the city of a council ever having done that before. I had advanced it with previous administrations, and there was a sort of a shying away from, we don't want to be political. Well, this is a political body. And I think if there's not any reason that we shouldn't consider that, I'd like to place that on one of our agendas during one of our December meetings to entertain this council's support for the school levy.
Thank you. I did not come here with that expectation, but certainly the decisions that this council makes would be much appreciated in that way.
Questions for Dr. Stankus? She's got another matter she wants to take up with us, but let's talk about the levy first.
Is this a 4-year call?
This is a 5-year.
5-year call?
It expires June 30th of 2018, is that correct?
June.
19.
This upcoming
Of
June.
19, right, yeah.
Oh, are you gonna,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Mary?
Are you gonna have an open session and talking with people of the community to try to educate them a little bit? Or is there something that maybe some of us can help go out and do and share?
That's kind of the mode that we've used. We've gone to, I just came from the Buckhannon Lions Club. We've gone to Lions. We've gone to the Development Authority, just civic organizations. Folks have talked in their churches. It's kind of a grassroots. And honestly, as we went to one of the Create Buckhannon meetings, the CEO of the hospital said that is the first thing that a physician will ask when he or she is being recruited to this community, or to the hospital. How are the schools? Where can we go to have our children educated? And so I said that's interesting, because as the pipeliners are coming into our community, we've had those pipeliners, the blue-collar worker, coming to the board office saying, which are the best schools in your community? Which elementary, because they can move to any community in Upshur County, where should we go? Where's the best school? So from the physician to the pipeliner, everyone wants what's best for their children. And that's the common place that all of us can meet. And that's, I think, where this grassroots movement will go. So if you just talk to the folks, we're not out to argue with people who say, Sarah, I don't want to vote for it. I won't engage in that kind of argument, because I'm not a politician. I'm really a school teacher talking about kids. That's where I started, in the classroom. And so that's kind of been our message. We're just out talking about what this can do for our schools. But really, it's up to the community.
Would I be correct in observing that there has been a strong correlation between the school system's success with the school building authority and those counties that tend to pass levies?
Yes. Right now, we just went to ask the school building authority for $2.2 million for pre-K and upgrades at Hodgesville. And we're really hoping that we get some of that project funded. If you have money through levies, then you can say, we can offer this much money toward that project.
Right.
So, yes.
It's definitely a black mark. I mean, if we do not pass this, I mean, we're well known around the state for not having a levy. Most of the county school systems have levies, and this just continues the momentum that we have here. And I know this might ruffle feathers here, but I'm the only one on this table that is a graduate of Buckhannon Upshur High School. So and went all the way through from kindergarten at Academy all the way through the high school. And I can remember in 3rd grade we did not have a levy, and parents got together to photocopy textbooks because there was only one textbook available for a classroom. We couldn't take a textbook home to do homework. So that section was Xeroxed
a parent volunteer would go down to the office and Xerox copy after copy after copy so that we could take stuff home to do homework. That was in my 3rd grade class at the intermediate school. So it's crucial. We can't go back to that. And especially with technology, these weren't around when I was in 3rd grade, and so you had one computer in a classroom that took up practically the entire room. That was technology, and so this is crucial for our community to continue its momentum to being the shining star in the state that it is. So I applaud you for going out and beating this drum and saying that this is what we need, that this is what we have to keep going. So
Thank you.
we're with you.
Thank you.
Council, are you, we can't act on it tonight, but Mr. O'Neill and myself can draft an appropriate resolution endorsing this, if that's the will of the council.
Let's do it.
Anybody opposed to that notion?
Not at all.
We'll fire it up for December.
Wonderful, thank
Well,
you.
let me ask a question, Sarah. What would be the impact if the levy didn't pass?
Well, imagine not having things like, Mr. Carver, help me with this.
Well, we would have to cut $3 million out of our budget, and those would be difficult decisions to make, and
We have,
certainly have an impact on the school system.
sports are of big interest to students. It's in the draw to help them stay in school. We are one of the few AAAs in Central West Virginia now. Other counties around us have lost population. We have not. But to play a game, we have to go to Martinsburg. We have to go to Lincoln County. We have to go to Brooke County. So these are 4-hour bus trips, and they're expensive trips. We might not be able to make them.
We're up 56 students, and everyone around us is declining. So we're really proud of that fact that our enrollment has increased.
If you look at the map of the state, the AAA schools are all around the border, and then right in the middle, there we are
So
as a hotbed. So.
Again, I think it's evidence that this is a great place to raise a family, for families to live and learn and just prosper. So.
Well, it's become quite the cliche, but we all say it now, we're all in it together. And the we isn't just the people that live in the city of Buckhannon, but it's people throughout all of Upshur County that includes our kids. And so we'll do everything we can to help make things successful on January 19th.
Thank you so much.
The folks that want to vote against it should come out January 20th.
Well, it's a critical investment for the
Yes.
We'll give them rides.
Absolutely.
I would love.
Give them rides on the 20th.
I will email this to you, and we have more copies. If anyone wants more copies, we can hand those to you as well. What's that?
I think we had a question.
Okay, sorry. Okay,
I just said it was a critical investment for the kids.
Absolutely.
thank you. It is an investment, thank you.
Let's segue into another area that we have had some discussion about. And this came about during the recent discussions about parking on College Avenue. There are a couple of seldomly used, if used at all, buildings owned by the Board of Education on real estate owned by the Board of Education. And Dr. Stankus had asked me about the opportunity of our city partnering, collaborating with the Board of Ed to be of some assistance. That precise assistance would have to be determined in helping them raise these buildings. One is pretty much a metal shell of a building. The other is a bit more substantial. But you want to talk a little bit about the concept?
So when we came to the meetings, that we were talking about getting some free spaces on the streets. And we know that our employees are parking on the streets at Buckhannon Academy. And when we have parent activities, they park on the streets. And I, just in reflection, went back to the board office and said, what can we do to help? And that's when then, we met the next time. I said, we'd like to propose that we take a look at taking that gray building down. And then, if you'd help us do that, then we could then chip in and make the parking spaces there that the city could use when they wanted. And then the maintenance folks said, well, this building's really falling down around us, and we have the new warehouse. It would kind of motivate us to move to that place up by Tennerton Elementary, the warehouse up there. Maybe we could tear this down and make that another parking area. Of course, Mr. Carver said, well, why don't we take the 2 houses we own by Buckhannon Academy? We have we have 2 houses that we own on, what's the street?
The square block that Academy sits in, there's 5 residences on that block. We own 2 of those.
Is that Victoria?
Victoria Street.
Yes.
So right now, we have probably 15, and I can get all the data to you, but probably 15 spots where our employees can park in a parking space, but the rest of them park on the street.
Yeah.
So just to get that freed up and make
Have you
more.
done any study to establish how many spots would be created through the raising and then, you know?
Here's a picture. So in that lot, the metal building you're talking about is a long, narrow
Yes.
building on the back side of the property line? And then you have some temporary classrooms in the front of that, or are they permanent? Or there's some other building?
Those are just offices, really.
So
but-
they'll remain?
Well, we've got some experts with Jerry Arnold and Bryson Van Nostren that design parking lots for us all the time, trying to maximize spaces downtown and things of that sort. What I would like to suggest to the council is that we designate a committee of board office folks, Dr. Stankus and the maintenance person, whoever else you want on that committee, and let Jerry and Bryson and myself work with those folks to come back with a plan that would be subject to this council's approval. Does that sound like a
That's
workable
wonderful.
kind of a thing? Do you have any,
Right.
I mean, the timeframe wise, you'd like to do it yesterday, but if we evolve to being able to make this happen over the winter months, so that come spring you could realize some completion, would that be something that you'd be receptive to?
I think, Mr. Carver, I think we
This
could.
is my 10th year working for the board. We were talking about tearing that building down the year that I started, and I suspect those conversations were going on before I had been around, so.
I think there's some hoops that need to be negotiated, such as asbestos inspection, asbestos abatement, you know.
Actually, we've had that inspection performed. There are some minor amounts of asbestos in that building. I'm not sure about the other maintenance building,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be a huge task to remove
Yeah.
that.
As long as we can negotiate,
Again,
jump through those hoops, you know.
I think number 1, beautification. Number 2, practicality of increasing parking for everyone.
Yeah.
Because there's just not a lot of parking.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of Strawberry Festival when our band comes and they meet there at the board office, and so often those parents are parking on the streets, and it'd just be great to have
Well,
spots that.
There's another element to this too. Our kids at Stockard use your facility. And when those folks who are going to our Stockard sponsored events go to the gym, they're looking for places to park, right? So that would be
Exactly.
another element of that would be helpful. Council, are we moving in a direction that everybody's on board with? To
Yeah.
At least continue the discussion
Yeah.
and fine hone some
Let's
points?
see what comes back.
Yeah.
Have you talked to any of the county commissioners regarding this?
Not about this specific project, no. But I'm open to that, whatever we need to do to move it forward.
Jerry, do you want to weigh in on this? We've talked just a little bit about it, but
I think what you said is spot on.
it's to brag upon our city workers. There's virtually nothing we can't do.
I think that we need to assess what's there and come up with some numbers.
Yeah.
I think that's a critical issue. We have to see what the estimates are for doing all this.
What kind of asbestos? What kind of materials was the asbestos present?
I believe it was floor tile.
Let's set up a meeting as soon as we can circle the wagons and get the appropriate folks plugged in and maybe
be
do a
great.
walkthrough up there to just come to a better grip on exactly the size of the building so that we can estimate tipping fees out at the waste collection facility, stuff like that.
Super.
And we can put some numbers together and
Okay.
see what we can do to help support this project.
Thank
Does
you
that
so
sound like a
much.
plan?
Thank you.
Sarah, I want to ask a question I forgot.
Sure.
The voting, what hours is that on Saturday, 19th?
It would be the regular,
6:30 to 7:30? I think.
and we're going to use the new electronic
And
machines.
will it just be at the courthouse, or is it all the other voting precincts?
It's all the precincts. It's
Okay.
just like a regular, I guess they'll have early voting.
will be at the
and-
courthouse and
There is
then,
early voting?
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carver. Thank you, Dr. Harrison. Thank you, Dr. Allman.
You can consult with the superintendent of elections in Broward County, too.
Sarah, I'd be remiss if I didn't, Don Nestor at our Stockard Youth Center meeting just last week said he would like for us to take a contingent of our board that I chair to an upcoming Board of Education meeting to discuss some of the excitement with our project that's going to be launched here soon across the street, and talk about, promote that, while we thank the Board of Education for your continued support. I mean, I'm not suggesting that allocation that comes the city's way to help finance things at Stockard would be the first cut if this levy failed, but if you're talking about a $3 million curtailment in available funds, that's always something that could be in the offing.
I hope we never have to do that, but I'm really proud of our partnership at Stockard. I really am.
Thank you very much.
It's a wonderful community facility. And I think it's just going to grow even more. I really, really do.
Good. Mayor? I'm just, I mean, this is just a hypothetical, but someday we do want to build a new school, either the middle school or the high school. And it has come to our mind, several of us on the board, but no decision, of course, but just for discussion, that we need to turn those buildings that we have over to someone like Stockard who could run them, whatever portion of them is useful, the gym, the cafeteria, whatever portion is useful, so that we don't do what, say, Elkins did, where they let a building just stand and collapse. And we don't want that to happen.
Absolutely. Well taken, Paul. Well, thank you all for coming.
Thanks
We
again.
look forward to working together to, improve the community. That's what it's all about for you guys as well as us. So thanks for coming.
You all have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, next up, I had reached out after I saw I was already thinking about it, but then I was really prompted when I saw the article in the Record Delta a week or two ago that talked about Jester Line and Jared and Lacey Ramsey's exciting new project. So I asked the Ramseys to come and tell us a little bit about the excitement with their new project down on Main Street. Imagine that, more excitement on Main Street. So Jared and Lacey, welcome to City Council.
Welcome. Thank you. So I want to thank you for the invite, for allowing us to come out here. Not a big secret. We've just been keeping it really low key, trying to find the best way to take this business into a level that we want to take it. I'll answer the one big question we've been getting from Facebook. No, we're not a bar. So the one thing that I want everybody to know, that this is a family-run business. This is something my wife and I have been looking into for the past 2 years. We actually started in 2016, and it's a technology-based business, but we're looking to take this into the next level with the gaming industry. The gaming industry is growing by leaps and bounds, and what better place than to bring it here that has welcomed us with open arms. Buckhannon has been our home since 2009, and we have 4 children of our own, and they're all gamers. And I personally been in the technology industry for the past 20 years, working in corporate situation like Allegheny Energy. I've worked in Chesapeake, oil and gas, and now I'm an employee at Warehouser for the IT department. So I've been in IT for a long time, and we're looking to bring more than just the gaming industry, but that's our main focal for Main Street. What we plan to bring for Main Street is the opportunity for virtual reality, esports, console, competitive tournament, and interactive for all ages. This is something that is done across the country now, and we're looking to bring that here, and we have the opportunity to be a pioneer in this project for the entire state, so that's something we're excited about. I'm going to let Lacey talk a little bit about some of the plans that we have to involve families, because that's our focus. It's going to be a family-oriented environment. We want to open these doors for all families to be able to come in. We know that technology is here to stay. We know that it's come down to a mobile device where you see a lot of kids and adults being on these devices at all times. They're playing a lot of games. They're using the social media. We have the opportunities to bring awareness. We have opportunities to bring education to all ages, and we're looking to embrace it and have the community involved. And we're looking to use that with the technology we have, such as virtual reality. And we have certain programs and developers that we're working with inside and outside of the state for education. We're also looking into K-12 as well, to where we can bring technology into schools. And that's something we're really excited about too. But as far as the facility itself, we're on 46 East Main, which is right beside in between the Chinese restaurant and the theater. And we're very blessed to be in that area, to have that amount of space, to be able to host as much as we can and bring as much technology in as we can. And the one thing that we're wanting to do is grow with the community. We know that everyone's different. We know that there's a lot of different interests. We had the opportunity to speak with the new head coach at Wesleyan for their esports athletic department, and we had a great conversation. And we see a lot of forward thinking and a lot that we can do in this community about bringing awareness. And it's not all scary. There's actually a lot of positive that we can bring. But as far as the family element, Lacey has been able to explain it in a way to where she's a mother herself, and we understand that there's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of the things that are scary as far as being online and the predators and things of that. So our first goal is to have a safe environment. We look at that as priority to us. We know that our network has to be safe, that the facility has to be safe, and we take that to a high level. And we do plan to bring in employees, and we do plan to provide background checks, because we'll be working with all ages. So that's one thing that we wanted the city to know, that number one, we do look at that, and we look at it very, very seriously. But we do offer, we're going to offer quite a bit in our facility as well, as far as events and parties and competitive gaming, to where we can bring all communities, including Buckhannon, here right to downtown Main Street.
So as far as the family stuff, we have 4 girls that range in age from 12 to twins that are 7, and I will confess, Jared and the girls are gamers. I could care less. I am not a gamer. It does not remotely pique my interest, which is why I have spent more time focusing on the family dynamic of what we want to do. So I love planning parties and coordinating things like that. So I want to have a space where parents feel comfortable. We are not going to be a daycare. I will say that. It's not going to be something you can just drop your little ones out and kind of go about your day. But if they're old enough, if you would feel comfortable leaving them at home alone, if you drop them, they want to play, fine. And we want to make sure that the parents feel safe, that we have a place that is trusted, insecure for their prized possessions. I would love to see us offer stuff in the summer for kids, to give them a camp where they can learn some foundations with technology, whether it's a coding or modding or how to use basic technologies. But also we can do things where we want to have nights where we have some gaming that is simple enough for the little ones to use, but mom and dad can come and play too, even if they're not tech savvy. Even if you don't like games, you can still come and do something just to relate to your children on a level that they enjoy right now. You don't have to be good at it, but we want to find ways to connect. There are some things that my kids do, it is above me, and I can't watch too much of it because I get motion sickness with some of it. But ultimately, there are some things that we can bond over and relate to on something that's meaningful to them, and you can make it fun. A lot of the stuff now is interactive, so it's not just stationary sitting on the couch. And I know some parents worry about that. You can do things where you're very active, working a sweat up, and having a good time doing it. So we want to bring things like that to encourage people and help them not to be afraid of it. I know some people don't do well with evolving technologies. Like Jared said, it is here to stay, so we just want to bring something in a kind of non-threatening environment for people to come and test and see. And then I wish Dr. Stankus was still here, because we've looked into K-12 and we would love to find something to partner up with the school systems and just kind of create and develop on that dynamic too, because there are tons of opportunities. So that's kind of what we're looking at for now. And we're just, I guess, excited to...
Somebody had asked me, so they have pinball machines,
No, we have been asked about pinballs and the pool tables, and if we're gonna sell alcohol, and no. You can play pinball virtually, is what we're telling people. We have a virtual pool table that you can play in VR, but as far as the actual on the floor, no, we will not have any of that. It'll all be more of the modern and futuristic technology based.
I've been using the phrase 4D. I don't even know what that means, but that's what I've been calling it. It's like something.
With the VR, I guess if we get some fans and some spritzers going, we can give you a 4D experience. But it is just with the 3D or the VR side, it's just a fully immersive experience. The consoles and the computer will just be traditional style gaming. And as luck would have it, we started the process with the building we're in the same day they made the announcement about Wesleyan. So that just was it kind of, for us, reassurance that what we're doing is heading in the right direction. It is something that's coming. And with the Wesleyan having that team, and they're the first in the state, and we've been working on this for 2 years, and the Wesleyan coach echoed this, that it's exciting that both fronts that are the first in the entire state are right here in little Buckhannon.
There's a lot of colleges that are going with the teams now.
Yes.
Ohio.
I thought it was crazy when I first heard it, but it is a real thing. It's a multi-billion-dollar business, and the schools are seeing it and they're catching on. Other countries have been doing it for years now, and we're finally catching up to where they are doing that. So we could have a place where Wesleyan would have at their doorstep a possibility to come and recruit and their team, the future team players and whatnot. So
community involvement.
Yeah.
I go to breakfast every Friday with a bunch of Wesleyan retirees, and many of them are coaches. And the day Wesleyan announced the E teams, you should listen to 70 and 80-year-old people talking about it.
I am short and raising more than a few eyebrows.
We're dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I'm only 30, and you said you listed a bunch of acronyms, and I have no clue what you're talking about.
Electronic.
I have had to learn. I will be honest. I have done more research on this in the past 2 years than I have ever cared to do prior to that.
So can you explain, maybe without you had a list of things that you're going to be offering, and I'm like, I have no idea what any of them are.
So the VR is the virtual reality. It's where you have the goggles. Not similar. A lot of people are familiar with the phones that fit in the case. This is more high-end, high definition than that. So you will have the goggles on where it puts you virtually into an environment, a world, and you have remote controls where you can navigate through that world. And it is as if it's real life.
What zombies on your back?
Esports is what Wesleyan's just now doing. It's just electronic sports.
It's a
competitive computer
competitive gaming that is
It's
now.
not Madden 1999.
There's been a debate for the past few years if it should be considered a sport, and it's now looking to be actually a part of the Olympics. So it's again, it's growing by
ESPN carries it. They have tournaments.
Games, like video games,
Yes.
like competitive video games.
Yes.
The NCAA has a committee looking at
I
oversight.
got a few questions. When are you planning on opening?
That is the $1 million question. And at this point, I would love to see it by the end of the year, but we are at the mercy of our construction finishing up and getting the place up and going.
What
So,
about hours? What kind of hours?
we are planning for Monday through Thursdays to be open probably 10 to 10, and then Friday, Saturday from 10 to maybe midnight, depends on tournaments. Some may run later, it could go into the 1 o'clock possibly hour, but we will not be open on Sundays.
And how do you pay? I mean, what do you charge for that? I mean, do they come in and just?
By the hour
I mean,
or by
how does
the
that work?
game?
Yes, it's by the hour. So you would come in and kind of, I guess, basically reserve your computer. And you can pay by single hours. Of course, the more hours you buy, the price point, it'll be cheaper to buy bulk hours. And then the VR will run a little differently just because a lot of people, especially if they've never experienced it, cannot do that long within the goggles. So that'll be broken up in 15-minute increments. So that'll be kind of a separate thing, and we have software that'll allow us to monitor the time and give alerts. If people want to add time to it, they can do it remotely from where they are without having to get out of the VR or take the goggles off or to leave their machine. They can add time where they are. So it would basically just be you're paying for the time, and within that time you can play whatever you want. You can jump between game to game to game if you prefer, or if you're working on rankings for one particular game, you can just stay within that one for however many hours you choose.
Okay, I got one more question.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit familiar with this Fallout 76 thing that's going right now. Does that have anything to do with anything like that?
So yes, our dream was to be open before then and have a big party for that, because for those of you that don't know Fallout 76, and I don't know anything about Fallout, I'm learning, it takes place solely in West Virginia. And I think it's their largest game they've ever produced, or one of the largest.
Scenes from Helvetia.
Yes.
Right here.
I'm from Grafton, and they have the Grafton Monster, which I had never heard of until this game came out, so I don't know that it actually exists. But
You could talk to the Morgantown mayor and just different stuff. There's all kinds of things.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's other
It's-
prototypes and models out there that you've been contacting and networking with.
One of the things that we're looking to do is, once we make the contact, we have resources available to bring the developer of that game here to have a release party, and it would be something where we could celebrate that. And having a game that's based on the entire state in the center that is here right in Buckhannon would be great.
The Westland Coast should be helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking to bring these things here and bring them in a positive environment. So that's one of the things we're excited about, and we're looking to use our resources to bring that type of technology here. But our main goal is family core values and forward thinking. So like I said, being where we're at and being right across the street from the new Innovation Center is where we're just excited.
Yeah,
So
I
we
think,
see a lot of great things.
Embracing the technology, bringing it to the public in conjunction with the Innovation Center, the school district, the college, and I think it's a good timing, and welcome to Buckhannon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
One other thing I wanted to tell you too, the people in Gamble Amusements, their son is involved in this, and he's part of a new game. I'm not sure, I can't remember the name. But he told me, and one of the characters' name is Gamble, because they own Gamble Amusements. He's one of the creators.
My elder monkeys, as I call my grandchildren, are the other thing that they like to do in addition to playing their games is eat. Are you going to have a snack bar or anything like that there?
We are intending to have a snack bar with, starting out, it'll probably just be prepackaged stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe some blended, like smoothie type drinks.
Right.
And then canned and bottled beverages. We've been given the red light from the health department that once we get our paperwork in, we will be allowed to offer some basic things outside of using a fryer and a grill if we want to. Yeah. So as things grow and the demands there, we'll add to it, but it would be, I guess, what is considered gamer food. Is what we substitute. Yes.
Cheetahs and
Yeah, I'm learning what the gamers like because it's not my skill set.
One of the ideas that we had as well, that we were fortunate to have a place on Main Street is to open up more area for us to grow in the business, but we did not want to sell food. We wanted to have people to be able to go and experience other restaurants, go experience Main Street. That's what we want you to do. Come here, have a good time, bring your family. But if you're hungry, go here. If you want to go shopping, go here. So we wanted to stay in our realm. We didn't want to compete. So we want to use Main Street to its fullest. So we want to bring people here from the outside and have them.
Is this world, I mean, are there a lot of people that are involved in this kind of stuff? I mean, you guys are, what kind of traffic are you anticipating?
That's a good
It
question.
depends on who you ask, because I am in line with you where I just sometimes think people
I
do
can't
this.
work this.
But it is, I mean, we've taken our stuff we've done Project Graduation 2 years. We did a benefit for a friend of mine that's battling leukemia at Tenerton, and we were there for a week. And the kids just go nuts for this. But also what we're hoping is that being the only one in the state, that we'll be able to draw in from other counties and let them come here and bring traffic in that would help anywhere in Main Street around Buckhannon. So we would love to have the pool come in, and especially if they are from out of town, they're not going to want to go home to eat or grab a drink, so they'll stay here and hopefully want to spend some more money on Main Street.
So it's like a really, really high-tech arcade.
Yes. Yes.
It's really okay.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Today's market.
And
it's
it's exploding.
It is a gigantic market, and if you do any research on it, it blew my mind, the numbers that surround this industry. It's in the billions and growing.
So you guys gonna advertise all around the north central West Virginia to get
Eventually, yes.
get people down here?
Yeah.
And
The one,
The word will get out.
the other exciting feature that we have, the software that we use is used by other centers across the country, and we have the ability to, if we want to hold an event, we can actually connect with those other centers across the country and into Europe. So if you want to compete, if there's a tournament that's scheduled, people can come here to Buckhannon and they can play against Austin, Texas, Jacksonville, Chicago, Oakland,
Spain.
California, and Spain.
All over the world.
All over the world.
They're all over there
We have
in
that ability.
multiple countries.
One of the unintended consequences of this explosion is that a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists are saying it's very addictive also.
that would be good for your
It
revenue.
is.
What? I'm a capitalist.
I mean, you're not wrong. But you know what, and that is a very true statement. And the mom side of me, especially through the summer months when the kids think that they can do it all day, every day. Number one, they're not going to be able to do it if mom and dad don't open up their wallet for them. But we would love to offer things throughout the summer, or for snow days or breaks and whatnot, of things we can do where it's maybe gaming, but there's the educational component to it, whether they realize it or not. So it's still, there's a purpose to it, versus just mindless gaming. I mean, there's a ton of software and programs that we have access to where we can incorporate things like that so that it's not just playing a game where you're trying to go around and tag everybody or blow things up and all of that.
Are there different kinds of age classifications? I mean, some games would be more suitable for a 15-year-old versus a
So-
6-year-old.
I have a 6-year-old son. What's he gonna do at Gesture Lunch?
So we have the VR, the virtual reality, and the computer side. We can label things with age ranges, or whether it's mature or kid-friendly. And when they create their profile, they would be flagged to where they could only access what's in that age-appropriate
And
stuff.
they can, when they come back again a month from now, when they're allowed to come back to Gesture Line again or whatever,
Yeah.
all that stuff they did is already saved in there
Yes.
with their profile. And all.
So with the computer side, the information they put in, they can actually, it creates an account for them, and then they can also use that, I believe, outside of, or they can edit their information.
It'll keep your stats.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can go and go from other places and see what, because you can earn coins and rankings globally,
Yeah.
and you can still access that and I think modify your profile to where, if you put in the correct year, it should track your birthday. But if there's a discrepancy, you could go in and adjust those things.
When you mentioned family values, you'll probably have more boundaries than many, many children have at their parents' home. Because that's one of the issues that is troubling to as I said, psychologists and psychiatrists, that kids don't have boundaries on some of these games. And they're out there, you're ranking yourself because you just killed 29 people in 2 minutes or something. So the word gaming, I think, sometimes has a negative connotation. And when you talked about family values and education, I think that's really very important.
For us, it's going to be there. And if we can take it and mold it into what we would prefer it to be like, that's what we want to do. And it's important, at least for us, because we do have 4 children, but they're girls too. So we want to protect them on all fronts. So we want others to have that same sort of protection.
Good luck. We're thrilled to have you down.
Thank you for your investment.
Yes. Do you have a question?
Brian, you're asking a question.
You were talking about how you guys were planning on doing competitive. Now, would there be like some sort of entry fee?
It depends on the event. There are some events that will be available to us through our software and through our circuit. Some are free, and some do have an entry fee. Most of the ones that will have an entry fee may have a prize attached to that, and we're looking into rules and regulations on what we can do for even as far as cash prizes or giveaways that we may have. We're also talking to sponsors. Some are major hardware companies, NVIDIA being one of them, NVIDIA video cards, where they are more than willing to come here, sponsor the event, and monitor it, take pictures, publicize it, Facebook Live, and being able to give out prizes as well.
All right. Again, we're thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
And we'll have you back. And,
Thank you very much.
if you have that open by New Year's Eve, I'll bring the elder monkeys to the place.
Be patient with us. We are trying.
Be patient. Remember that Peter King Farmville a long time ago? I was addicted to that. I mean, totally addicted.
What was that?
And for the non-gamers, we'll have the Wi-Fi there too, so you bring your kids in, you can play stuff on your phone.
We'll put you in the virtual routing, and you can do your.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's wild.
I want to fly.
You can. There are games where you can do that.
She's been in virtual reality for a while.
We'll just solidify it. But yeah, we're excited to be here, and we look forward. We hope it does well and just brings a lot of new faces and traffic to the city.
You have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You as well.
Nice to meet you both. Welcome to Buckhannon.
Thank you.
This is not one of those passing whim fancy things, guys. This is big stuff. My 15-month-old granddaughter, when she starts getting fussy, her mom just hands her the phone. She does the swipe thing, and she plays this Baby Shark song.
Oh, yes.
Everybody knows the Baby Shark song? 15 months old. I mean, I just got my first cell phone 2 years ago, and I'm still trying to figure out how to use it. So
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, I've had the opportunity to work with them for the last 2 years as their insurance agent, and they are so thorough. They have this to a T.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome when it opens, so we can't wait.
We've had plenty of time to sit and iron out all
Yeah, you have. Because you were telling me August and September, then October.
Are you going to give senior discounts?
You know what? If you are willing to come in, that would just bless my heart, and absolutely. Because
I'd
there's
love
so
it.
many of the older generation that
I know.
want no part of it. And I understand to a point, but at the same time, with the virtual reality, there's just so much in it that you could love. And one of the things that have been my heart too, I would love to get this going. If we could maybe even go to the hospital or senior centers where the patients are stuck and confined to a bed, and we could put them in the mask, and they can go to Rome and walk through the Colosseum or go to an island. Yeah, they could do so many other things, and it lets them escape the mundane of what. So it can be beneficial even to the generation that's kind of not for it. So I'd love to be able to open those doors and have people come in and see that it can be fun for all generations.
Class come.
Yes.
From the senior center.
Bring them all.
Good luck.
Thank
We'll
you.
touch base again soon.
Have a good night.
I was remiss at the outset of the meeting. I have a couple of Wesleyan students here this evening. And our tradition is, Ms. Mearns and Mr. Carter, that you stand and face the camera and give us your name and hometown and what you're studying at Wesleyan. So, Ms. Mearns, ladies.
Yeah, that's something we're doing.
My name's Elizabeth Mearns, and I'm from Clarksburg. and I'm a senior accounting student.
I'm Terran Carter. I'm studying business management, and I'm from Delaware.
You just wrapped up the football season last Saturday, right? You're not supposed to tell us the score. All right, nice to have you guys. All right, department and board reports. First up is our information coordinator and grant writer, Callie Cronin-Sams. Callie, how's it going?
Hi, great. Oh, I forgot my prop. Bring it up here. One of our prizes, anyway, for the Buckhannon Recycles hashtag social media campaign that we've been doing, and I'll get to that in a second. But just starting out with the website and social media. With the website, nothing too major to report there, but we were able to work with West Virginia Net to switch over from non-secure to HTTP to the HTTPS, and to be a little more secure there with our website. So I think between that and the reCAPTCHA that we've added to the Contact Us page, we're doing a little bit better as far as cybersecurity goes. About the same amount of users, it seems, over the past couple weeks is what we've been seeing, so I haven't seen any big jumps or drops there. With our Facebook posts, one of our most viewed and shared posts was information about the Veterans Day parade and the different Veterans Day going on. So that got quite a bit of views, and also our, of course, the sharing of the recycling information and the Buckhannon Recycles hashtag. Another one, of course, wearing purple for today, and this being Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. I got some views as well. So we've got several posts there, and I won't go through every single one. But also, Mr. Pettit's receiving the Ambassador Award. A lot of people appreciated seeing that as well. And those were the highlights there on Facebook and the website. But I did want to share that for the Buckhannon Recycles social media campaign, where we were encouraging everybody to go out and recycle either curbside or at one of our drop stations, and to share their photo either on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. We had a lot of people that participated in that, and we have the winners, and I put them into Excel. I randomized the names and then did the drawing with the random selection tool function in Excel. So I did it as random as possible. And Courtney Page was the winner. Everyone who participated will get one of these bottles, which is why I wanted to bring it up for the Volunteer Center. So if you did that, if you shared it, and also the media, if you shared it, we'd love for you to have one as well. But everyone gets a bottle, but Courtney Page receives a hat. And this is why I wanted to stress how random this was. My mom won, Linda Cronin won. MLPA donated drone training, so getting to learn how to operate a drone. And my mom, Linda Cronin, actually won that. So full disclosure, that is my mother, but I did it with Excel. It was completely random. Casey is my witness to that. And yeah. And then we also had some donations of koozies for drinks, and Sarah Gaither and her son Henry were one of those winners. Donna Higgins had taken some photos and sent those in. So I'll be getting the word out to those winners, and they can come in and pick those up. And anyone that had shared a photo, please come in and pick up one of our Volunteer Center water bottles. So thrilled to have everyone that participated in that. And I think I've got some information about it. It is also America Recycles Day, and we've got some of these at the door if you wanted to learn a little bit more about recycling, and go to our webpage and learn about how to recycle right here in Buckhannon and Upshur County. Moving over to the second page in grants, we got our Families Leading Change mini grant submitted. I've been talking with Matt and Doug at the police department about active shooter training and some other equipment needs there with the police department. Continuing doing some research down below. You can see with some of the different ones that I've been looking at. And then in our upcoming events, of course, Thanksgiving next week, and Small Business Saturday, next Saturday after Thanksgiving. Looking forward to that downtown. And then in December on the Saturdays, the 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd, we'll have the Winter Wonderland wagon rides. Those start at Jawbone Park each Saturday, starting at 5 p.m. and running in the evening, going around town and looking at some of the beautiful lights displays and that people put up. So it is we'll have a winner each week. So if you're on one of the routes, be sure to check out the route list, and we have those up on the website as well. And look in your mail. We'll be dropping off a postcard if you are on the route, and we'll be announcing a winner each week for best decorated home. Christmas parade, December 7th. Evening in Whoville on the 8th, as well as the wagon rides and the wreaths across America, December 15th. So I think that is it for me today, unless you have questions.
Questions for Callie?
Mayor, would it be possible for Callie, maybe the second meeting of December or the first meeting of January, to maybe put a report together? I think it would be interesting for the community to see how many, the enormous amount of grants we've applied for, and maybe some of the returns that we've got with some of those grants, just to kind of see what's been going on in the community over the course of the year. Because I know that we get the reports every single meeting, but I think it would be neat to have a big compiled, this is what we've applied for, this is what we've received, this is how we've moved forward in the year.
Maybe first meeting or second meeting in January, you can compile everything through the end of the year.
Yeah, since she's been here, it's coming up on a year.
Yeah, coming up on a year. Yeah, we're going to have to review her probation, aren't we?
Yeah, I tell you.
I'm just kidding.
I think that ended in 6 months.
She already went through that, she said.
Thank you.
The gauntlet is not over.
Clearing your salary.
Pledging is not over.
Callie, have you been contacted by the group that's putting together the Whisker Ball or Wonderland December 1st for pets?
Sounds like something Katie Cooper.
Dogs and cats.
I don't think so, but I'll double check to make sure that I didn't miss it.
Sorry, dog.
December 1st. Love for animals.
It's December the 1st,
Yeah.
and it's at the, I think it's at the 88.
Yeah, upstairs.
And it's a lot of fun. It's, I think people will really enjoy it.
Okay, I'll definitely add that to the website, especially if they already have some material out there. I'll put that down. I'll ask if Lisa still who's doing that.
Lisa Critchfield.
Lisa Critchfield, she participated too in like
Yep.
recycle, so she's got a water bottle.
Robin
coming to her. I'll ask her
Keogh's
about that.
involved. And some other-
Desiree Poland.
You can have a copy of my community calendar if you want. I got a bunch of things you didn't have on yours too.
I know, I saw that, but I already taped this up for Teresa, sorry.
You want me to give you those things now? While she's talking about other events. November 22, Chapel Hill Methodist Church, all day long, Thanksgiving dinner. The Christmas parade sponsored by the Buckhannon Fire Department, Friday evening, December 7th. After that, the Buckhannon Diversity Appreciation Coalition will have lighting of trees in Jawbone Park, including the menorah, the Kwanzaa tribute, all that stuff. We already mentioned the wagon rides, the Whoville thing on December 8th. Thursday through Sunday, December 13th through 16th, the Buckhannon Community Theater is presenting Miracle on 34th Street. We think that's going to be at the Opera House on East Main Street. The 88 Grinch Brunch, they're doing it 2 Saturdays this year, December 15 and 22. And then as we get into January and February, more stuff to come. But December's enough to tease them with, don't you think?
Right.
Great.
Sounds good.
Spelling bee is January the 25th, David.
I
That's
saw
another
that.
thing. There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Callie. Appreciate everything you do for us. Next up's Deborah Brockelman, Director of Stockbridge Youth and Community Center. Deborah, how's it going?
Very busy, very, very, very busy. Just wanted to give you an update on the programs, what's going on. After school, we have an average of 51 kids per day now. We have 8 kids tutoring, and there's not a waiting list because they're doing some tutoring at school and after school and before school now. We've been having basketball and cheerleading signups for the past month, and we had Skills Day last Saturday. And now I've been working all week and getting the teams split up and the rosters typed up and the coaches recruited, and I need a couple more. And looking for gym time. So I'll just reiterate, we need a gym because I don't know where these kids are going to practice. If it's sunshine, maybe we'll just go outside. But we need some space. Hopefully we won't have that problem next year, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. It's closer.
Yeah. Anyway, we got a lot of kids, and the practices will start after Thanksgiving. Over the Thanksgiving break, we'll have open gym. We have a few programs that will be going on break. After the Christmas parades or area parades, the drill team will take a break, and then they'll start up again with the open registration in February, gearing up for the spring parades, including the Strawberry Festival. I've listed a list of things that's going on this month, just this month in the building. I won't read every one of those things, there's a lot. Just a little update on our fundraising efforts. Of course, you all know about the elimination dinner. It's very successful, and I think we're at a little over 10,000 for the dinner that we netted. The haunted house went really well. We had 206 people that came through it. We raised $1,670 with our one-night event, and all that went into our capital campaign. And right after that, we had a $1,000 donation to our GoFundMe, and it was anonymous, so I think that person was at the haunted house, but I can't be for sure. But I think I recognize the name. Also,
was that part of the 1,600 or was that additional?
No, that was additional for the haunted house. Yeah. And also, our giving tree has been painted and it's ready for the names in our foyer as you go into the building. And I've given the names that we have so far to our guy that's going to print the names to put on the wall. He is going to donate all the names, and his name, it's Casey Earls with the new t-shirt and print shop at Tennerton. He's going to donate all that from here on, for the duration. And right now, it looks like he would be a bronze donor. So, but anyway, we should have names on the tree shortly.
That's super.
Is there a minimum to have your name on the tree?
I'm not sure. It'll be a contribution. And I think we will put those names if we have them. A lot of the donations have been anonymous, though. I mean, in the smaller amounts. So if we have a record of it, I think that we would. Correct, Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay.
We identified those levels of giving.
Yes.
We can share with the council again, but anyone who contributes $15,000 or more is a platinum sponsor. 5 to 14,999 are the gold. I think it's 1 to 5 is the silver, and we have copper and bronze
and red and black.
Red and silver and all that other.
Yeah. But anyway, we should have names going up in the next, I'd say within the week.
Okay.
As he's working on it. And I think that's all I have. Unless you have
Questions for Deborah? Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you.
So all we do is keep having fun and learning. Next up is our Public Works Director, Jerry Arnold. Can't wait to go do that gaming thing, right?
Look at me.
You're not going to play Pac-Man. You remember Pac-Man and all that stuff.
Does Pac-Man help throw hay?
Exactly.
I met with Todd Bradley from Brick Street on Monday the 5th, and we visited the Traders Alley project in the sewer department. He was pleased with the overall safeguards that were in place, and we'll be following up with a report submitted to our underwriter for our workers' compensation. Again, Ty comes down and visits all our operations, kind of does an assessment of our equipment and how we're doing our jobs, and offers up suggestions and like I said, creates reports for the underwriters. And again, he was very pleased with what's going on here in town. Bryce and I met with the contractor on the UCDA Innovation Center about the closure of South Spring Street. We've required them to provide safe pedestrian covered walkways on Main and Spring Streets, and Spring Street will remain open as a one-way even when they're erecting steel. We were able to work out that the delivery truck can take up one lane. They're moving their fence to accommodate that single lane, and we'll put up signage to create that one-way access. So we will have access, like I said, a single lane even when they're erecting steel this winter. Water Department, they continue to inspect on the water system improvement project on Brushy Fork. They're working on removing some down trees at the St. Joseph's tank site, troubleshooting a pressure issue at the airport booster station, and placing some fill material to raw water intake. Sewer Department, Crew 1 continues to work on the Wood Street Project 2, and Crew 2 has been working on a sewer issue at 19 Lincoln Way. The maintenance crew is performing routine maintenance. Waste Department, expect the delivery of a new road tractor next week. In street, we continue to work on Trader's Alley. We have had a couple guys, again, you know, the request from the Christmas Decoration Committee was to try to get the lights up prior to Thanksgiving week. We've had a couple guys working on lights about full-time this week because of corrosion issues with the lights on the wreaths. So they're continuing to work on them. Hopefully we'll get started putting them up tomorrow. Next week, hopefully we have them all up. But again, it's not been an easy task this year to get those things going. Also, we're awaiting the delivery of the guardrail for that Upper Drive guardrail project that was in my report last meeting. Engineering, the ACP water system improvement project work continues on both contract 1 and 2. The contract 14-inch PVC fusible pipes being delivered either this week or next. The next phase of the project will begin at Sheets and work towards Pizza Hut. Anticipated completion date is the end of 2018. Contract 2 has approximately 90% of the pipe installed to date. All main lines have been installed and water services and cleanup efforts have begun. Total project construction cost is $1,907,000. Overall, the water system improvement project is about 46.8% complete. Water Department early warning monitoring system, the construction has began on the building. It's been placed on site, or will be placed on site in early December. The Brushy Fork water line replacement project, remember that's a project that the state's doing to create the third lane on Brushy Fork, and then in that, the water line was relocated. Their contractor will be relocating our water line, where the Water Department is paying for an upgrade to that line to have a bigger line installed for a higher capacity of that area. So that project, the project bid opening was November the 13th, and 5 bids were received. 4 of the 5 were less than DOH engineering estimate on that project. Gateway West Engineering Survey, waiting on the final approval of the DOH District 7 office on the refuge island to be installed at St. Joseph's entrance. And since this review's been completed, final revisions to the drawing specification letters and permits are being addressed. The Adrian Public Service District water system improvement. Had a meeting with the Public Service District yesterday and discussed possible water line upgrades, the area between Stony Run Road and the Public Service District master meter pit to accommodate an increase in the demand from Adrian Public Service District. And that meeting was very fruitful. We left that meeting with the understanding that they're applying for a grant to upgrade their water system, and as part of that grant, they will ask for or include that section of upgrade to the system to be able to provide that additional water that they're asking the water board for the monthly water usage. And that's all I have in there, unless there's questions.
We're gonna drop down to strategic real quick. We've been, for 3 months, we've had these resolutions of acceptance from Davis Health. You have been told, and therefore we believe, that there's no problem, that they're just a matter of getting those things delivered to us. Is that a fair statement, Steve Johnson?
I have, yes, I've contacted Steve again Tuesday and asked him to please get those to me, those signed deeds. And again, he assures me there's no issue with it other than just getting them to me, apparently. We'll get there.
I'll drive to Elkins.
I offered that as well, Mayor.
Thanks, Jerry. Any questions for Jerry Arnold? Tell all the guys we appreciate it.
Sure will, thank you.
Great work.
Thanks, Jerry. Thank you.
Next up is our Finance Administration Director, Amby Jenkins.
Ian Carroll.
Dan Burrow.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you the balances in your enterprise funds. This is the second meeting of the month, and I'd like to keep you updated on what those accounts are doing as well. Coal tax, you have $38,263, consolidated $106,934 with CDs of $277,000. Water board has $334,623. There's also $993,000 still there for that we're working on the ACP project. And they have CDs in the amount of $956,000. The sanitary board has $474,000 in operating money market and checking, and CDs for with $113,000. Now the board this evening asked me to quote some prices or some interest rates from the local banks, and they want on the agenda for the next meeting to come up with a number between $75,000 and $100,000 in additional CDs to put in their investment. So this is very good for the sanitary department. They've struggled for a few years, so now they're getting into a place they can build up some reserves and be prepared for those next emergencies. Waste collection has $618,694 money market and checking and $57,000 in CDs. I'm presenting the financial statements for each of these enterprise funds, the financial statement that ended June 30th of this year. And I'm telling you this because you'll want to watch your minutes that you're getting for the month of November so you can see what the financial statements are in more detail for these entities. They're all in pretty good condition. We're meeting all of the testing requirements from the Public Service Commission and the bonding that's necessary. We have to have so much financing in place since we have bonds and the Public Service Commission requires so much in reserve in case we do have an emergency. So we're meeting all those tests. I'm working with the city attorney. I'm looking into another tool to use to collect some larger delinquent utility bills and police and fire bills that are unpaid. So I'm looking into going to the magistrate court and filing civil actions against some of these. They'll get letters first, and then we'll go with the process of a civil action. We currently right now use a collection agency, and then I'll put liens on properties when I can. But some of these need to I need to get their attention.
What kind of numbers are you talking about?
I'm looking at bills that are over $300, $200 to $300 that, that's going to be worth me filing the paperwork to go after. And of course you have to notify them, and I have to find where they're at and notify them. And they'll be served paperwork through the sheriff's department. So larger numbers. One of the things that, we've had new people start in the office and we've had people leave. And we're getting some of our newer people settled into the job. And we've got one that's been getting really, and I don't want to say aggressive, but she's getting very conscientious about what's on shut off and what the past due balances are. And she's put a lot of effort in it. And just this week, I think she's collected a few $1,000s on some old accounts. So this is just, okay, so I see this and I see someone going to work on this and I don't always have the time to do it. And so we're going to go after another tool in the toolbox to go after these accounts that need to be paid. And there are some large ones out there that we haven't had success with collection agents and with liens. The city of Lewisburg contacted me today. The city manager there, J.C. Faulkner, she wants a copy of our employee policy and pay scale information. They're gathering the information from other towns in similar sizes to them on how employment practices are handled. So she made the comment that every city seems to do something different. So I asked her when she got this information together, I'd be glad to send her what I have. But when she got it together to police, be sure to send that to us because, you know, let's see what everyone else is doing. Maybe we can improve what we're doing.
This municipal election argues that too.
Yes, I'll forward it on to them if no one else does. Yeah, I'm sure it can be. So that's really, in your invoices to be paid, the only unusual, different bill is thermal imaging cameras from the fire department for $6,250 was purchased in the bills that you're getting ready to pay. And that is it.
Questions for Andy? Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Barb.
Thank you. Billy and Kathy and all the gals. Alice, we appreciate them all. Okay, next up is Police Chief Matt Gregory. How's it going, Matt?
Good.
You're tired unfloating?
What's that?
Because you're tired unfloating?
Yeah, it was a long day. Yeah. We're very busy with COIA activities as we continue to progress toward accreditation. Just have a few things to report on tonight. Beyond that, just wanted to announce to council that I've been recently appointed to the position of parliamentarian on the board of directors for the West Virginia Chiefs of Police Association. The association is made up of member chiefs from various police departments throughout West Virginia. The board of directors is the leadership of the organization. They do meet on a monthly basis and do have appointments to the various state boards, one of which is training through the State Police Academy. They do have regular contact with the legislature as well. So I will be representing Buckhannon and the police department in this capacity with the board on a monthly basis. Our next meeting is scheduled the week after Thanksgiving in Wheeling, and so I'll be attending that meeting. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, work continues to progress on COIA. We have a meeting scheduled to discuss our all-hazard plan, at least the foundational aspects of a rough draft of that, with the consultants that we've been working with regarding this specific plan. This particular component of COIA will be taken up with our policy review committee in December, and the all-hazard plan will focus on the critical incidents chapter that relates to the COIA standards. Corporal O'Connor continues to host a variety of self-defense classes with a variety of groups. He's been working very closely with a number of student groups at Wesleyan College, but he is certified to instruct this. It's on a very good class. Has a lot of the materials we're able to host right in our training room with the mats and everything. If there's any interest in this, and I've mentioned this before, please reach out to us. We think this is a very worthwhile asset that we can offer the community. In addition to this, and I know Amby actually mentioned this at the last meeting, but just as a reminder, Corporal O'Connor, beyond the ability to instruct self-defense, is also certified to instruct on active shooter type situations. And I know he works closely with the college and our school system in that regard, but he's also working with Amby for the City Hall staff. And of course, again, if there's any interest in the community for these types of information, please reach out to us. And then finally, just a quick report on the Halloween activities. Trunk or Treat was an absolute tremendous success this year. We actually had a counter out this year. We had enough VIPs to be able to help us with keeping everything organized. And by our count, we saw 714 kids, and that's just the kids. So our estimate was over 2,000 people that attended this event. So it's an absolutely remarkable success. Kudos to all the businesses and organizations that embrace this and partner with us to make this such a success. And that's all I have for tonight's meeting. I'll have a lot more in December. I plan on bringing Vips here to recognize their many contributions to the city.
December 14, Police Academy graduation day.
Yes.
And we just had an exchange the other day. Angel and Sam are both doing gangbusters.
Yeah, doing great. They're on the home stretch now. They are scheduled to graduate on December 14th at the Police Academy. And once they complete that, we're making plans now to begin their field training, which will begin immediately after their graduation. In fact, as part of the CALIA process, we are rolling out a brand new manual that we wrote that will be used day to day to complete their field training.
Keeping what I did last December when Sammy Chris got through, I'll plan on going with it.
Very good.
Be good time.
Matt, how's your team looking for the spelling bee?
Well, we're coming together. We do plan on being there. We're gonna have to. I saw where my son was in the Scripps spelling bee at school there the other day, so I was scrimmaging a little bit and looking at his list and just getting warmed up there. So.
And Holly's going to be involved too.
She said she will. Yep.
Thanks, man. Tell the guys that.
Hey, real quick, thank you for your help with responding to some of the business owners' complaints. Just the council is aware, and I've talked to Amby about this some too. In the absence of not having a parking enforcement officer for the downtown area, my Facebook and cell phone has been blowing up with some complaints from business owners downtown. Their fellow business owners are parking all day or for extended period of time in front of businesses, and it's prohibiting people to get there. So I called upon Matt just for some help to kind of patrol the area and just kind of reach out and say, this is kind of what's expected downtown. And Matt responded right away with officers that were on duty just to go and have a conversation, hand out our copy of our ordinance that's there to try to help people understand what is expected downtown. So appreciate that, and keep doing that until we can get somebody on the street. Because especially as the holiday season rolls around, we need to keep those spaces rolling over so that people can get in and park and visit businesses and restaurants. So.
And Amby did publish an ad, so we're starting that process.
And they're due November 30th, all the applications, right?
Yes. Anybody that's interested, valid driver's license, can go 50 pounds, inclement weather.
Colin just said Tim Reese. I was telling you said that.
Matt, are we any closer to being able to share information with the parking officer as far as what plates have had warnings and?
I know there's a database.
We've got a database that has that.
But is that accessible to the officers on?
Yes. Yes.
Not in the field. But it would be.
If there's a cloud.
And the person that gets that position is going to know who's the violators also.
Yeah.
What is this halftime in-house and halftime on parking?
That's right. Yes, it would be part-time parking, part-time office.
But it's a full-time
But it's a
position.
full-time job, yes. Okay. They're just expected to do two entirely different types of jobs. That'd be personal.
Thomas is coming out every time.
I'll get run over.
That's the plan, Dave. I'm just kidding.
I have dodged your car many times.
He's already got his stick, so.
Matt, tell the guys to be safe first.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Next up is our city attorney, Tom Neal. Tom?
Good evening. Just to update you about a few things that we've been working on. I've been in communication with the law firm in South Carolina that is heading as lead counsel on the opioid litigation. We are compiling and submitting to them the cost data that has been requested as part of the class action. We have a deadline coming up about a month from now to get some information, and I've received the necessary information from the police and fire departments, and we'll be communicating that onto that firm. I've been assisting, Andy mentioned the utilities collections efforts that will be going on. With respect to the Board of Education, the parking matter that was discussed earlier, Jerry and I Jerry actually, did some quick kind of back of the envelope calculations, and it's our belief that we could be looking at least 70 off-street parking spaces on the footprint of those two pieces of property. That's a minimum. That's a very conservative back of the envelope calculation on that. So I spoke with Dr. Stankus prior to the meeting about getting together and discussing some parameters that the week after the school system's Thanksgiving break to move that along and to make sure that the city is appropriately protected for city personnel to undertake any activity on behalf of the Board of Education. We got to tie our shoelaces tight on something like that. With respect to, we're also preparing our submission to the Municipal Home Rule Board. That is another matter that is taking up a lot of time lately, and we're hoping to have everything prepared for the submission by December 31st. So it'll go to the tax department, concurrently with it going to the Home Rule Board. And if we have things on that dual track, it might speed the process along a little bit.
A concurrent submittal.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Finally, I was speaking with Jerry earlier about some assistance the water department may need with enforcing a warranty on some equipment down at the main pump station for the water plant. And we'll keep you abreast if there are any matters on that. Other than that, I have an ordinance under F5, and I'll defer to that point unless there are any questions.
Questions for Tom? Thanks, Tom. We'll yell back to you here in a couple minutes. Correspondence and information, there's several items. There's a proclamation for Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, as well as some literature accompanying that proclamation. There's the PR statement and a proclamation regarding American Indian Heritage Month that's annually sponsored by the Daughters of the American Revolution. I want to take just a second. There's a thank you letter that I sent to Van Broughton. Mr. Skinner's not the only guy that pops in the fire department. I was down there, a week or so ago, and it was the day after there had been back-to-back structural fires, both well outside the city limits. I mean, two out of three or 3 out of 4 calls our guys make are outside the city limits. And I came to find that they had sent a couple of 3 of the Elkins firefighters over to watch our station, and a couple of them ended up being dispatched during the second fire to actually help. So if you'll indulge me, this is the letter I sent to Van Broughton, who's a good friend of Buckhannon's. Dear Mayor Broughton, on behalf of our entire city, I extend Buckhannon's most sincere thanks for the prompt kindness and professionalism exhibited by the members of your Elkins Fire Department on Saturday, November 3 here in Buckhannon. Our own fire department was dispatched to back-to-back fire structural calls in different parts of our first due area, both well outside of Buckhannon's corporate limits. And your fire chief, Tom Meter, immediately dispatched firefighter help to cover our fire station while our own guys were out battling those blazes. Additionally, Buckhannon Fire Chief J.B. Kimball informed me that your Elkins firefighters aided in putting out the second of the 2 fires on Upper Childers Run, helping to save the family's pets. Our citizenry perhaps gets tired of me always uttering the old cliche, we're all in it together, but in this instance, the we part of that equation means all of us here in our shared region. Please know that while we'd not relish returning the favor, as it would mean someone in the Elkins area would be in distress, our guys are but a phone call away from assisting our wonderful friends in Elkins anytime you need it. Again, thanks so much, Van, for the kind backup support. This is the perfect example of the type of kind cooperation and exemplary partnering that makes our area so distinctive and so very special. Elkins certainly is appreciated by Buckhannon, signed by me. So that's in your packet. There's also thank you letters to the sponsors of the West Virginia Municipal League dinner reception, to Mr. Dave Waggy. You might remember last spring, Dave Waggy gave $1,000 to the Stockert Youth and Community Center. More recently, he gave $500 for the Colonial Theater. And I've also thanked the Minsker family and Buckhannon Toyota for their $20,000 gift. We thought the Minskers might be with us this evening, but hopefully at the next meeting we'll recognize them with the Ambassador's Award. There's also information relative to the Buckhannon Volunteer Center newsletter for October 2018. So that's it for correspondence and information. The consent agenda that I'll ask you to approve here in just a minute consists of 6 items. The approval of the minutes of our last regular meeting on November 1, the approval of our building and wiring permits, the approval of the payment of the general fund bills. There is information regarding the appointment or the requested appointment of either Jared or Lacey Ramsey to the Upshur County CVB. The resignation of Dr. Eric Wagner from the Water Board effective December 31 of 2018, and the acceptance of our 2019 holiday schedule. I would entertain a motion that we approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Skinner. May I have a second to his motion? I have a second by Pam Caperi. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for that question. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Strategic issues, as Jerry mentioned to us a little bit ago, we're going to dispense with F1, 2, 3. Hopefully next meeting we'll advance those. Wanted to talk a little bit, and this is some urging from our colleague, Mr. Rylands. There's some money out there that has been generated and contributed to the cost of the installation of a truly professional outdoor sound system, a permanent system at Jawbone Park. We can't continue to expect CJ and Create Buckhannon to bring their private system down for every single event at Jawbone. Do you want to speak a little bit about this, and then we can see if Amby can figure out before we get too close to all the big events happening in the spring and summer, maybe we can find some money to make this happen.
Well, for the last 6 years, we've had I purchased a sound system that was eventually going to be put into the Opera House, which has now opened. And so the issue, formerly it was stored in a trailer, and I would tow it down, we'd set it up, break it down, and leave it in the trailer. Well, now that it's set up in the Opera House, we would have to put it in the trailer, take it down, set it up, put it in the trailer, take it back out, and it doesn't, it would be too cumbersome of a process to do on a regular basis. So we have worked with Rodney Irvin, and he has come up with a weatherproof speaker system that...
Rodney's our sound guy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's also with Channel 3. And we have a quote of approximately $15,000. 7,500 of it is the speakers, and about 7,500 is the mixer and the other components, microphones, stands, cabling, etc. This would be available for use for any number of groups. And one of the issues with the sound system is we set it on the stage. You have to turn the volume up pretty high to push the sound out there. And that is when people are walking back and forth on the promenade. That's, it's very loud. And with these speakers, they'll be up higher and out in the front, so we'll be able to project sound and then have smaller speakers in behind for fill, and also to be able to bring sound down each the left and right side of the main pavilion. Create Buckhannon has agreed to offer $5,000 toward this permanent purchase and improvement at Jawbone Park. There's a lot of details that would have to be worked out as far as if somebody, another entity or group wanted to use it, they'd probably have to get checked out by Rodney or some other capable person, or that person would have to be contracted with to come and make all the hookups and manage and mix the sound. But it would afford a lot more opportunities to have events down at Jawbone Park as the amenities keep building down there. So that's kind of where we're at. There's a couple of asks out there with other organizations in the community. We haven't got any confirmations back about what they're going to potentially could offer us, but this thing's set to kick off in Memorial Day, and I know how that's not that far away.
No,
and
sure.
if we don't start taking actions now or try to figure out a way to do this, we could be in a tight spot with bands contracted, and I mean we could figure something out probably, but.
Let me ask you this question. Since Craig Buckhannon received $5,000 from the city last year, now you're turning around and giving it back. If the city were to commit $5,000 for this and we were to conduct a drive, a campaign of sorts to raise the other $5,000 in the next couple of 3 months, is that something the council would support? And I'll, as I always often do, I'll toss the first $100 toward the third $5,000 increment. So we'll start a campaign. How about that?
I would ask Amby, does she have any money out there that, like part of the capital for the mayor's office? Do you have some monies that would be available?
We're coming up to the end of the year, and I need to do a budget revision. So what I'm doing right now is looking through reassessing, any of the revenues that we got in. I can mention this, and again, this is a cursory mention because I haven't in depth went into this, but the hotel motel tax is up, and some of the, funds for that can be used for
Those purposes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
was you were saying that it was much higher, and that would be one, Jawbone, I would think that would be appropriate.
Absolutely. You're right there.
It's right in it.
It's for tourism and entertaining and drawing people in and beautification and parks, and that would fall within that description, I'm pretty sure. But again, I'm looking at it right now. In fact, I kind of hung up on liquor tax that looked like it was plummeting, and I think there's a problem with maybe what the state is remitting to us. So I sent an email out to them, but I'm just now looking at these revenues and expenses and trying to.
I remember you were saying that the hotel motels would be fairly sizable increase on what we had a year ago.
Well, I'm looking at it, and we'll have to do a budget revision. I always do that after the end of the year.
Festival Friday is important enough to the morale of the community that it's worth the investment.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. You go, so I have business partners from Fairmont, and a couple years ago they came down on a Friday, and they were driving by downtown, and they looked down the road and they saw this mass of people down there, like, what in the world is that a rally? I said, no, that happens every Friday. And their minds just blew that there was that kind of community connection here. I think it's important enough to contribute to.
Yeah, it's not a Create Buckhannon event, it's a Buckhannon event.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens every week, and it just so happens to be sponsored by Create, but it's also sponsored. I mean, if you look at the banners that are now hung in Jawbone Park, we, the business community, sponsor this. Every single year, and I think that this is an infrastructural improvement, and I think the city needs to be part of the conversation. But I agree, I don't think the city should be the entire contributor. But if Create's going to throw in $5,000, the city could be in that range of funding, and then maybe open it up to maybe a few of our larger businesses. Maybe they would.
Throwing a couple hundred in each, or 500 or something.
I think we should let Amby take a look at the end of December, because I think you'll have the money in the hotel motel. I really do.
It only take a couple of months to put this system together, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have to get a plan and then work with Jerry and how we're gonna run these cablings, and the mixer would have to be mounted inside the building up high enough that the, water damage if the water got high, but there's a lot of engineering planning to make it all work, but it's we can do it as long as we.
There's another element of this I want to just remind you about. You probably all remember that Suddenlink has donated a 500-foot drum of fiber that would allow us to broadcast up and down Main Street, just like we do the background music now, the live entertainment stuff that would be occurring in Jawbone. So
that's what I was going to mention. Is we made provisions when doing Jawbone for the sound system. Matter of fact, we made runs out to where Rodney sets up where he sets up his mixer now and everything. So all of those facilities are in the ground, as well as the facilities coming down Trader's Alley to incorporate that fiber. So there's a lot of what the infrastructure is already in place for the equipment that CJ's talking about.
let's make it happen, and let's get the word out. Anybody that wants to contribute to the cause, the sooner we can raise those few extra bucks, we'll make this happen, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, F5 is ordinance 432. I had requested at the last meeting the council's endorsement of expanding the 10-member Stockard Youth and Community Center's Board of Directors from 10 to 11. And with that would come the appointment of Buddy Brady after we get this in place. One of the problems with this is all of the members, with the exception of the organizational partners, the county commission, the school system, and Wesleyan College, we had provided that all of the members had to be residents of Buckhannon. So I had asked Tom to consider an ordinance that would give us an extra slot or two with the general at-large appointees, that they wouldn't have to all be Buckhannon City residents. The draft that he has before you tonight would have 4 of the 5 at-large members being city residents. I think I'd be fine with 3. I would still assure with the 3 council members that serve on Stockard, myself, the city reporter, and 1 council member at large, plus 3 city residents, the very minimum number that we would have of those 11 guaranteed would be 6. And oftentimes the Wesleyan person is a city person, 7. The county person might be a city person, 8. But it would just let us have a little more. We're calling this now the Stockard Youth and Community Center. And we certainly service a lot more than just city kids and city residents at this facility. So Tom, I didn't mean to steal all of it.
No, that's okay. Let me read the ordinance by caption, and then it would be in order, I suppose, to entertain an amendment. I'll point out where that amendment would have to be made in order to effect that change. Ordinance number 432 of the City of Buckhannon, in Ordinance 1, expanding the city's Stockard Youth and Community Center Board of Directors by increasing the number of at-large members from 4 to 5 and total board membership from 10 to 11. 2, amending city ordinance numbers 320 and 350, and 3, establishing an effective date of the ordinance. For purposes of the amendment that the mayor just discussed, on the second page of the draft, under Article 1, subsection A5, it reads, the current draft reads like this. The mayor shall nominate 5 at-large members from the community, at least 4 of whom shall be residents of the city of Buckhannon, subject to the confirmation of the council, which 5 at-large members shall be appointed to serve for a term of 2 years each. The mayor's described amendment would change the word 4 to the word 3, so that it would read, the mayor shall nominate 5 at-large members of the community, at least 3 of whom shall be residents of the city of Buckhannon.
What do you think, guys? This actually makes it easier for us to hit our quorum. Not that we've had frequent problems with that, but every once in a while it gets tight on getting 6 out of 10, 6 out of 11. It gives us one more person that would be a regular attendee. And I don't think Buddy Brady, in my 2.5 years as mayor, has ever missed a meeting. He's just his heart and soul is in with the Stockard Youth Center, and I'd like to keep his energy on board. He's been a terrific fundraiser for us. So that's what this is about. Would we be good with changing Tom's 4 to 3?
I think so. Sure.
Yep. Mr. Skinner, could I have a motion to
Sure.
approve this on
So,
number 3?
yes.
I have a motion by Skinner, a second by Thomas. Is there discussion on the motion, subject to that one small amendment? No discussion necessary. I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Can they all be that easy?
Yeah, really. Well, given our recent, yeah, you're right. F6, when I became aware a couple of months ago of Eric Wagner transitioning, segueing from here back to Charleston, I had asked Susan Alloy if she would consider coming back with our operation. Susan is now the vice chair of our planning commission, and while she had assured me last Friday that she would still be willing to do that as we were putting together the agenda, on Monday, after the agenda is made public, she said she wished to decline, that she was spending an awful lot of time with the planning commission, and that was enough. So I have another person in mind. I'm hesitant to mention the name because this person has not yet given me a thumbs up that I could nominate him or her. So can we accept, we've already accepted Eric's resignation. We have both meetings in December to take this up. If you have somebody else that you think would be a Jim Dandy mix match for the water board, I would just remind the council that previous administrations have often seen these board appointments, the at-large appointments, as an opportunity to place someone that might be friends with the council on the board. We need to first and foremost be committed to competency. And so the person I have in mind is an engineer, and they would be perfect for it if they would accept it. But I'd rather wait and see what we find out.
I think that's appropriate.
Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay. Enough about that then. We'll keep it on the agenda for next time. Discussion of possible implementation of a municipal minimum wage for our full-time employees. I would like to propose that we put the pause button on this, and I would like to appoint a committee that would include Amby Jenkins, Jerry Arnold, Robbie Skinner, Mary Albaugh, and myself to report back, hopefully by the second meeting in December. So that gives us 4 or 5 weeks, to make a recommendation to the rest of the council to consider this or some permutation of it. Does that sound acceptable to proceed in that direction?
Sure.
Okay. I'm not gonna, we're not voting on anything. We'll just let the committee weigh in and come back with something. Again, there are only 3 current city employees that are making less than $10 an hour. We've already talked about our assistance to the Board of Education regarding building raisings. We are not ready to commit to anything here tonight. We're gonna let our committee get together with the Board of Education folks and report back to council. Takes us down to comments and announcements, and first up is Mary Albaugh.
Going to the Buckhannon Upshur Middle School for their veteran salute tomorrow.
Awesome.
And Larry Brown helped me today take all the flags down because it was raining. So, but we're going to have a nice program. He won't be there because he has something to do. But it's going to be a nice program. So if you're a veteran, you won't see this on TV anyhow. So if you're veterans or if you want to see what the kids are going to be doing and what we're working on, just stop in tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock unless we're snowed in.
Now, don't say that S word. It's a horrible word, Mary.
I know it is. It was snowing this afternoon. Anyways.
Anything else, Mary?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. Pastor Perry?
One thing I want to say is I'm assuming Jerry put this together with the wagon rides. I think it's a great idea. I'm kind of disappointed trying to do things for downtown Buckhannon as far as Christmas to improve and make bigger. Cannot get volunteers to come on board. hopefully next year and get some other people. I was hoping to have house tours this year. I talked to about 25 different people. I got 4 people that would do it. I don't know if they're afraid of people coming in their homes. I don't know, but maybe next year we could do that. I'm glad to see that Jerry Henderson's doing the Whoville thing down at her place, and 88's still doing the Grinch. But anybody, we would like to have a Whoville theme for downtown. If you're decorating, you know, if you could throw a little bit of the Whoville in with your decorating, that'd be great. But
Whoville.
The Grinch.
Oh, Cindy Lou.
And
Go ahead, sing it.
What's the words anyway?
They just sort of mumble.
but I'm looking to see the play. I'm glad BCT's putting on Miracle on 34th Street, and I did not know until just this week their mayor's going to be in it, and so
My
look forward to
theatrical
see that.
debut.
So, but I just want to.
And it's on a Thursday night, right?
He'll be the Grinch.
I'm the bad
I'm going to
Santa.
that just because you and Rob Roper in that.
I know hopefully next year we'll have some more money. We'd like to, I would like to see some more things for the Christmas season for Buckhannon. Maybe things going on out toward Walmart, that direction, because there are a lot of businesses out that way. But I need volunteers and I need people to help, and you can't do it if you don't have people to help you. So maybe next year that will be better. So.
We'll shoot for that, man.
But other than that, I'm wishing everybody a really safe and great Thanksgiving with families and friends, and safe travel. So.
Mr. Rylands?
I'm good.
Nothing, huh? Mr. Skinner?
Well, as a member of the Water Board, I will miss Eric. I think he's done a nice job. Wish him well to go to Charleston. He always represents the city very well. And as you always do, you did a wonderful job with the organization of the parade this week. It's nice to see everybody walking through town, marching through town.
See our baseball team.
Nice parade, nice event. And I also echo Pam, wish everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Robbie. Mr. J. David Thomas?
I wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and I'll be calling on some people to participate hopefully in the spelling bee January 25th.
I know I'm out of that call.
Are you done?
The last Friday, and I'll be giving you a call.
Anything else, Dave?
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Mr. Colin Rigger?
No comments.
No comments. I just got a couple of quick things. First off, there's some, you just can't believe everything you hear on social media. And this is one of those where you should just shut up. But there's folks out there talking about Trader's Alley being the $1 million alley. Back in 2015, before I became mayor, the council approved a $40,000 expenditure to build sidewalks and pave Trader's Alley. In talking, that's the material cost. In talking with Jerry Arnold, in fact, we came up short in a couple of different areas. The wall that was going to be rebuilt, or actually not rebuilt, but used as a base, it was crumbling and falling apart. And we ended up spending probably $10,000 or so more than what the anticipation was with that project. So it's a $50,000 some dollar project. That Trader's Alley did not cost the city of Buckhannon $1 million. Just one of those sore spots. So don't believe everything you see on social media. And then I have a short closing statement for
So the Colonial Field cost $600,000, remember that?
Yeah. We just spent millions of dollars on these things. With Thanksgiving now being but a week off, I am thankful for my family and many friends. Next Thursday morning, I'll drive to my old hometown of Wheeling and celebrate the holiday with my mom and sisters. It'll be the first Thanksgiving without my dad, who always was perched at the patriarch position at the end of the big table in front of the bay window in my folks' dining room. Everyone in my family misses my dad terribly. We all know many folks who've lost someone recently, and we're there with each of you as you proceed on in your lives without your loved ones. We're there with Mary Albaugh, who will be without Tommy's physical presence, and we're there with Dawn Arnold, who will have a big meal with her family without her dad. We're with Judy Knorr and her kids who won't have Jim. We're thinking about the Kimball family without Jerry, the Johns family without Howard, the Seach family without Garrett, and the list goes on and on. We who have lost loved ones recently go through what I call first-time-itis, that especially tough first of everything without your loved ones. Holidays, birthdays, vacations. I choose to think, as a guy who's perhaps not as religious as many of my friends, that our loved ones' spirits are still with us, as I find myself comforted by that belief. We're thinking about our friends who are battling illness this Thanksgiving. Close friends like Tappan Squires, Roy Pettit, Larry Brown, and so many others. We're very mindful of those who protect us, the members of our armed forces who can't be with their families. We thank every person who is serving or who has ever served our great nation. And yes, some of us are acutely aware of others who can't be with us this holiday season, who are incarcerated, residing in nursing homes, or otherwise institutionalized. We pray for all lost and challenged souls. I'm thankful for this body of people on our city council who I know are each committed to improving our community, to moving us forward, to making this very special place even better for everyone who lives here. I am so very thankful for our amazing, excellent city employees who serve us so well and who I sincerely come to appreciate and respect more each day. They are all talented, dedicated, and creative people who put their hearts and souls into their work to make us better. We couldn't accomplish anything without them. I'm thankful for our growing, vibrant community and our many contributing citizens who help us achieve so many things. We have a volunteer base like no other town in West Virginia, people who give so generously of their time and resources every single day. Thanks to each of you. This holiday is not just about being reflective of how blessed we are to give thanks, but it's also about reaching out to those who have had more than their fair share of challenges, who don't have as much as others of us to be thankful for. We know families whose breadwinners have been displaced. We know families who've been hurt, disrupted due to family members who are victims of substance abuse. We know persons who are challenged by health, age, or infirmity. We know many lonely souls. Please, I implore you, take a moment out of your day in the next week to reach out to someone who will be uplifted by your token act of kindness. Go knock on a door to drop off a pie to a neighbor, be randomly liberal with your smiles for others. Engage folks around you. You just never know how much something seemingly so small can matter so much to someone else. Do it for yourself. I guarantee you'll feel better about life if you go out of your way to be kind to others. We truly are all in this together. Thanks for attending our meeting this evening. We hope to see you next time. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I'd entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by Alba, a second by Rylands. Discussion on the motion, no. Call for the question. All those in favor of adjournment at 9:02 signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you.